Hello everyone. Today topic discuss the nervous tissue. Previous class discussed the skeletal muscles, skeletal muscle, cardiac muscle and smooth muscle. Today discuss the nervous tissue. Nervous tissue. The nervous tissue is derived from the nervous tissue is origin from the ectodermal in origin. So, the nervous tissue is origin from the ectodermal in origin. The nervous tissue is origin from the ectodermal in origin. So, ectodermal means in the embryonic stage presenting on the three germ layers, outer ectoderm, middle mesoderm, inner endoderm. In these three germ layers, they form is the total body. So, the nervous tissue is origin from the ectodermal in origin. Ectodermal in origin. Next one, it is the greatest control our body, the greatest control of our body, the changes of the external and internal. External and internal, they are the controlling of the our body activities, controlling of the our body activities in the nervous system. The nervous system is controlled by the our entire body activities, the changes in the internal external environment, the changes of the external environment or internal environment. So, they are the balancing, the maintenance of the total body functions, total body functions. Next one, the nervous tissue contain neurons, two types of the cells, two types of cells. One is the neurons, second one neuroglia. First one neurons, second one neuroglia. The neurons functioning is the conducting cells. The neurons are the conducting cells. The neuroglia is the supporting cells. Supporting cells. So, the neurons are the conducting cells. The neuroglia is the supporting cells. The neuroglia is the supporting cells. The nervous tissue is origin from the ectodermal in origin. Next one, it is a greatest control of our body functions in the changes of the external or internal environments. The changes of they are controlled by the our body functions. Next one, the nervous tissue contain two types of the cells. The nervous tissue contain two types of the cells. One is the neurons, another one is the neuroglia. The neurons are the conducting cells. The neurons are the conducting cells. The neuroglia is the supporting cells. The neuroglia is the supporting cells. So, they are the nervous tissue. First one, neurons. First heading, neurons. So, the neurons are the, it is a functional, units of nervous tissue. It is a functional units of the nervous tissue. It is the functional, neurons are the functional units of the nervous tissue. Functional units of the nervous tissue. Next one, it has a receiving impulse. They are the stimulation. So, they are the excitability of the electrical impulse. So, they are the electrical impulse. That is receiving, initiate, and conducting or transport. transport of impulse, transport of impulse. So the neurons are the receiving of the sensory impulse, receiving of the sensory impulse. Next one, they are initiate. So the next one, they are sending the transport of the electrical impulse, receiving, initiate and transport of the electrical impulse. The neurons are the receiving the messages. Impulse means messages. Like they are the pain. That pain is receiving. They send to the central nervous system. The central nervous system, they are sending to the impulse. So they are the receiving, initiate and transport. So they are the functions of the nervous tissue. They are the impulse of the receiving, initiate and transmit of the electrical impulse. Next one, the electrical impulse, they transport through the plasma membrane. So they are the transport of the plasma lemma of the neurons. They transport of the electrical impulse, electrical impulse. Next one, the neurons contain a three parts. The neurons contain a three parts. First one, cell body. First one, cell body is also called as soma, is also called as cyton. Cyton. So the cell body, soma or cyton. Next one, dendrites. Dendrites, cell body, dendrites. Third one, axon. So the neurons contain a three parts. First one, cell body. Cell body is also called as soma, also called as cyton. Next one, dendrites. Next one, axon. So the neuron contain a three parts: cell body, dendrites and axon. Cell body, dendrites and axon. Next one, types of neurons. Next one, types of neurons. Types of neurons. So the neurons are the three types: unipolar neuron, bipolar neuron, multipolar neuron. Neurons are the three types: unipolar neuron, bipolar neuron, multipolar neuron. First one, unipolar neuron. First one, unipolar neuron. First one, unipolar neuron. Unipolar means these neurons are the sensory neurons. These neurons are the sensory neurons. These neurons are the sensory neurons. Next one, these neuron, the cell body. Cell body contain single process. Single process. These divided into one axon and one dendrite. So they are the unipolar neuron. Unipolar neuron means they are the cell body. Cell body, a single process presenting only single process. That single process divided into two process. The single process divided into two process. One is the continued to the dendrites. One is continued to the dendrite. Another one is the axon. So these are called the unipolar neuron. So they are only one process is presenting. So they are the unipolar neurons. Unipolar, single opening. So the single opening is presenting. So they are the uni means single. So they are presenting on the unipolar neurons. The unipolar neuron divided into two branches. One is the dendrites, another one is the axon. Another one is the axon. So they are presenting on the dorsal root of dorsal root ganglion. dorsal root ganglion of nervous neuron. These are presenting on the dorsal root of ganglion of neuron, presenting on the nervous tissue. The neuron are presenting on the dorsal root ganglion of nervous tissue. Neuron is presenting on the bipolar neurons. Bipolar neurons. Next one, second one, unipolar neuron. Second one, bipolar neurons. Bipolar neuron. Second one, a bipolar neuron. So the bipolar neuron means the cell body contain two process. The cell body contain a two process. The cell body contain a two process. One is the dendrite, another one is the axon. The cell body contain a two process. The cell body contain two process. One is axon, another one is the dendrite. One is axon and one is dendrite. One is axon and one is dendrite. So these are the cell body. That cell body is the two process. One is the dendrite, another one is the axon. This type of the neuron is called the bipolar neuron. This type of the neuron is called the bipolar neuron. So the bipolar neurons are presenting on the eye. The bipolar neurons are presenting on the eye and internal ears, internal ear and epithelium of nasal chamber, epithelium of nasal chamber. All epithelium of olfactory membrane. So the nasal chamber. So they are the nerves presenting on the nasal chamber. They are presenting on the these type of the neurons. So they are the bipolar neurons. Bipolar neurons means the cell body contain a two process, two openings, two process divided into two process. One is the dendrite, another one is the axon. So they are the bipolar neurons presenting on the eye, presenting on the internal ears, presenting on the olfactory epithelium of nasal chamber, olfactory epithelium of nasal chamber presenting on the bipolar neurons. Third one, multipolar neurons. Multipolar neurons. A multipolar neuron means the cell body divided into the cell body opening of the many process. The cell body the divided into many process. The cell body opening into the many process. So they are the multipolar neuron. Our body many number of neurons are the multipolar neurons. Maximum number of neurons are the multipolar neurons. Body presenting on the number of neurons are the multipolar neurons. So multipolar neurons means the cell body arising the many process. So the our body majorly presenting on the these type of the multipolar neurons. So they are the types of the neurons: unipolar neuron, bipolar neuron and multipolar neuron. Unipolar neuron, bipolar neuron and multipolar neuron. So they are the types of the neurons. Next one, types of the axon. Next one, types of the axon. Types of axons. So the axons are the two types. Axons are the two types. One is the myelinated. Myelinated axon. Second one is the unmyelinated. Myelinated axon and unmyelinated axons. present on a myelinated axon. First one, a myelinated axons. A myelinated axon means, for example, so these are the axon. These axon are presenting on the myelin sheath. They are presenting on the myelin sheath. That type of the axons are called the myelinated axons. The axon contain a myelin sheath. The axon contain a myelin sheath. That type of the axons are called the myelinated axons. The axon contain a myelin sheath. That type of the axons are called the myelinated axons. Next one, unmyelinated axons. Unmyelinated axon means the axons does not contain a myelin sheath. The axons does not contain a myelin sheath. That type of the axons are called the unmyelinated axons. Presence in the myelin is called the myelinated axon. Absent of the myelin, these are called the unmyelinated axons. So they are the types of the axons. Two types: myelinated axons, unmyelinated axons. A myelinated axon means presenting on the myelin sheath. The axon contain a myelin sheath. That type of the muscles is called the myelinated axons. Next one, unmyelinated axons. Absent of the myelin sheath, that type of the axons are called the unmyelinated axons. Next one, types of neurons. Types of neurons. Based on function. Types of neurons are based on the function. So the neurons are the three types. First one, sensory. Sensory neurons. Second one, motor neuron. Third one, mixed neuron. Mixed neuron. First one, sensory neuron. Second one, motor neuron. Third one, a mixed neuron. Mixed neuron is also called interneuron. Mixed neuron is also called as interneuron. First one, sensory neurons. First one, sensory neurons. The sensory neurons means the electrical impulse. Transmit from a sensory organ to central nervous system. Sensory organ to central nervous system. For example, so they are the skin. So they are the brain, central nervous system. So these neurons impulse ascending from the sensory organs to central nervous system. The impulse means the messages. The messages transmit from the organs to central nervous system. Organ to central nervous system. Next one, the motor neurons. Motor neurons means the impulse, the sending from the central nervous system to organs. Central nervous system to organs or glands. So these type of the impulse, the sending from the central nervous system to organs or glands. Organs or glands. So they are the motor neurons. They are the sensory neurons means the impulse sending from the sensory regions to central nervous system. The motor neurons means these impulse sending from the central nervous system to sensory organs or glands. So they are the motor neurons. Third one, mixed neurons. Third one, mixed neurons. The mixed neurons means these are the presenting on the central nervous system. They are presenting on the central nervous system. They are the two functions, sensory function and motor function. Sensory function and motor function. So they are the sensory function and motor function. So these are the types of the neurons of the based on the function. The neurons are the three types: sensory neurons, motor neurons, mixed neurons. First one, sensory neurons. Sensory neurons means these are signals or messengers, they transmit from the sensory areas to central nervous system. Next one, a motor neuron means the messengers impulse transmit from the central nervous system to sensory organs. Third one, interneurons or mixed neurons. These neurons are the two functions, sensory function and motor function. Next class discuss the multipolar neuron.